Trump departs for Middle East, the war is over. In a dramatic and highly symbolic moment, former U.S. President Donald Trump departed for the Middle East this week, declaring, "The war is over." His statement came as he boarded his private aircraft, surrounded by aides, security personnel, and a crowd of reporters eager to understand the significance of his journey. This trip, taking place against the backdrop of shifting alliances and fragile ceasefires in the region, is being viewed as a major diplomatic and political move with both domestic and international implications. Trump's declaration was brief but powerful. "The war is over," he told journalists on the tarmac. Though he did not specify which war he was referring to, analysts believe he was alluding to the years of conflict that have destabilized parts of the Middle East, including the long-standing Israel-Palestine tensions, proxy conflicts involving Iran, and the aftermath of the US-led wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. His choice of words was deliberately broad, signaling a message of closure, optimism, and perhaps political legacy. A historic region at a turning point. The Middle East has been a central stage for geopolitical rivalries for decades. From the Arab-Israeli wars of the 20th century to the US invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan in the early 2000s, the region has seen prolonged instability. In recent years, however, several developments have shifted the landscape. Key among them are normalization agreements between Israel and several Arab states, such as the Abraham Accords, ongoing talks between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and efforts by Gulf states to diversify their economies away from oil dependency. Trump's trip comes at a time when multiple ceasefires and new agreements are being tested. Though violence has not fully disappeared, the intensity of regional wars has diminished compared to the height of the Syrian civil war or the US military surge in Iraq. Against this backdrop, his statement can be seen as both aspirational and strategic, portraying himself as a figure connected to major peace efforts. Trump's legacy in the Middle East. During his presidency, 2017-2021, Donald Trump took a very different approach to Middle Eastern policy compared to his predecessors. He recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital and moved the US embassy there, a controversial move that reshaped diplomatic relations. He also facilitated the Abraham Accords, through which several Arab nations, including the UAE and Bahrain, normalized relations with Israel. This was seen by his supporters as a landmark achievement, while critics argued it sidelined Palestinian interests. Trump also adopted a maximum pressure campaign on Iran, withdrawing from the 2015 nuclear deal and imposing sweeping sanctions. While this increased tensions, it also led to new alliances among Gulf states who shared concerns about Iran's influence. By announcing, "The war is over," Trump may be positioning his diplomatic initiatives as having set the stage for a new era, even though many conflicts remain unresolved. His supporters argue that his policies reduced US military involvement and encouraged local actors to take responsibility for regional security. His critics counter that many of his moves were short-term and destabilizing. Political context in the US. Trump's Middle East trip also carries domestic political significance. With the US presidential election season approaching, Trump remains a dominant figure in American politics. His foreign trips are often interpreted as efforts to strengthen his image as a global statesman. By returning to a region where he claims to have achieved historic peace agreements, he is reminding voters of his record and contrasting it with his successes. Moreover, his simple message, "The war is over," fits well with a campaign strategy that emphasizes strength, finality, and accomplishment. It allows him to frame himself as a peacemaker who ended endless wars, a message that resonated strongly with many Americans during his presidency. Reactions in the Middle East. Reactions to Trump's announcement have been mixed across the region. In Israel, some politicians welcomed his statement, viewing it as a continuation of his pro-Israel stance. Israeli media outlets highlighted his role in the Abraham Accords and noted that his visit might include meetings with former allies in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. In Gulf countries, particularly the UAE and Saudi Arabia, Trump remains a respected figure in some circles for his firm stance against Iran and his support for economic and security partnerships. Analysts believe his visit could involve private meetings with influential leaders, possibly discussing investment projects, security cooperation, or even future diplomatic frameworks. On the other hand, Palestinian officials have criticized Trump's statement as empty words. They argue that true peace in the Middle East cannot be declared without a fair and lasting resolution to the Palestinian question. For many Palestinians, the war, both literal and symbolic, is far from over. In Iran, state media reacted with skepticism, framing Trump's comments as political theater. Iranian analysts emphasized that regional stability remains fragile and accused Trump of using the Middle East for personal political gain. A symbolic gesture with strategic aims. It is important to note that Trump is no longer the sitting U.S. president, which limits his ability to shape official foreign policy. However, former presidents often use their international networks to influence narratives, build alliances, and position themselves for future political roles. Trump's Middle East trip seems designed to do just that. His message of, "the war is over," may not reflect reality on the ground, where conflicts such as Yemen's humanitarian crisis, Syrian instability, and Israeli-Palestinian tensions continue, but it is a powerful narrative. It signals a desire to shift from an era of open warfare to one of negotiation, competition, and reconstruction. Looking ahead, whether Trump's visit will have any tangible impact remains to be seen. If he meets with regional leaders and participates in high-profile events, it could influence ongoing diplomatic conversations. His statements are likely to be closely analyzed by both allies and rivals of the United States. Some experts believe Trump's trip could increase pressure on the current U.S. administration to clarify its Middle East strategy. Others think it is mostly a symbolic move aimed at domestic audiences. Either way, the phrase, "the war is over," is likely to be remembered and debated. Conclusion. Donald Trump's departure for the Middle East, marked by his striking declaration that, "the war is over," is more than just a travel headline. It represents a blend of symbolism, political messaging, and an attempt to shape narratives both abroad and at home. Whether seen as sincere optimism or strategic branding, the statement captures a moment where the Middle East stands at a crossroads between the violent past and a potentially more stable future. While the reality on the ground is complex, Trump's trip underscores the enduring importance of the region in global politics, and his continued effort to remain at the center of major geopolitical conversations.